Behind me stands the last bastion of British commercial aviation, the Avro RJX, registration Golf, India, Romeo, Juliet, X-ray. First of its type produced, but more importantly, the last ever produced commercial aircraft built and designed here in the United Kingdom. Now, its older siblings, the RJ family of 70, 85 and 100 still operate, the Jetstream 31 and 41 still operate, and the Britain, Norman, Islander and Trilander also still operate commercially. Means we've got 3 type of British made and designed aircraft still about. But did you know until late last year we had a 4th? Unfortunately, we sadly lost it. But you're coming with me because I need to find it. British Aviation lost a commercial aircraft last year. So like I say, we've got the Avro family of RJs, Jetstream 31 and 41, the Britain, Norman, Isla and Trilander. And until of late last year, we had a 4th, the BAe ATP.
The British Aerospace ATP, or Advanced Turboprop, was developed in the 1980s as a successor for the Hawker Siddeley 748, and rather than designing a brand new aircraft, BAe just modernised the 748 by giving it a redesigned wing, quieter 6-blade propeller system and more powerful Pratt & Whitney engines. The first prototype flew in August the 6th, 1986, and the ATP entered service for British Midland in 1988. Despite its impressive performance though, the ATP entered service just as airlines began favouring regional jets, and also it came under stiff competition with the ATR and the Dash 8, and that meant by the end of its life only 64 aircraft were built, the majority flying for British Midland, British Airways and Manx.
Now, of all the aircraft built, there's one in pristine condition, restored to one of its core liveries, and for that I've got to jump, not on a Trident, but on a plane. Well, with only one ATP restored and kept in a museum, it's at its spiritual home on the Isle of Man. And we're going to go to the Isle of Man. Welcome to the mystical lands where cats have no tails and the flag has a 3rd leg. Welcome to the Isle of Man. We have made it. We've now got to go down to the Manx Aviation Museum, which is down the road, to see a childhood favourite of mine, the BAe ATP. So I walk towards the museum. Why am I doing this today? Well, the BAe ATP was the staple of my childhood aviation memories at Manchester Airport during the early to late 90s and the early noughties. And every time you went to Manchester Airport, you'd always see a BAe ATP of British Airways, or before that Manx, before they got conglomerated back into British Airways and they turned into British Regional City Express. I was actually very lucky to fly a BAe ATP, just the one, here to the Isle of Man and back. 2005, before British Airways retired them. It was Golf Man M, and that was the same plane there, same plane back. But this plane we're going to see, bit of history behind it. It didn't fly for Manx, but it is in Manx colour scheme, but it has been preserved of all the ATPs around the world. It's the only one still in preservation. British Aerospace, BAe Systems, whatever you want to call it, voluntarily gave up its airworthy certificate last year. So the final passenger ATP operated, I think, sat at Azores. And of course they used to fly here in the UK for British Midland, British Airways, Manx over there, British World Airlines, and later Emerald Air out of Liverpool before they ceased operations as well. And then they flew out with British Airways to Sunair in Denmark to Billund from Manchester. And then other than that, they flew in America with Air Wisconsin under the United Express brand, and like I say, sat at Azores in Portugal in the Azores. And that's about it really. Now, they all went freight conversions, and they all went basically to the west there of Sweden, and then they did a load of humanitarian flights for the UN actually, and that was the last ever aircraft operated last year. It was in South Sudan for the United Nations for humanitarian purposes. But unfortunately, like I say, BAe Systems voluntarily gave up the type's certificate last year, which means none of them could fly. And look at her, she's a beauty. There, this is the only preserved ATP in the world. The museum doesn't open until 10. It's 9:20. Car park's open. but I'm going to go up to it and then we'll go in the museum. We'll have a quick look round there. But this is what I've come to see, and she is an absolute beauty. The world's only preserved British Aerospace advanced turboprop in existence, and she's here on the Isle of Man. Now, the BAe ATP Preservation Society was given this by West Air of Sweden. So even though it's in the Manx livery, she never flew in Manx colours. It flew, I think, for Wisconsin, and then it was converted to freight for West Air of Sweden. But it was donated, I think, for 99p, something like that, to the BAe Preservation Society here on the Isle of Man. And well, you can see the cargo door there, a bit of the old conversion, but it was repainted wonderfully into this Manx livery, and its registration G Maud is named after a very special person associated with Manx Airlines. And there she is, Maud Pownall she's called, and she worked for Manx, and she was the first person to retire from Manx. She retired in 1993 and unfortunately died at the age of 83 in 2016. I'll chop your head off, wouldn't it? Let's go and see the third leg. Oh, some private jet has arrived. So yeah, this was the HS 748 initially, and then it was lengthened, strengthened, and made advanced by BAe Systems to what it is, or what it was, the BAe ATP. Love the Manx livery, beautiful that bit. This does bring back some wonderful, wonderful childhood memories of seeing Manx operate out of Manchester and Liverpool when I was a kid. And my hair needs a haircut, but this is a fantastic, preserved, only one in the world of a BAe ATP, and it's brought back some wonderful memories. The museum opens at 10. We will go into the museum. Yeah, I can't record it, but we'll have a look at it. But that's it. What a plane! G Maud, named after the first retired employee of Manx Airlines. Unfortunately, she passed away. She never actually got to see this aircraft painted, preserved. She passed away too soon for that. But it's fantastic, isn't it? Love it. A fantastic little museum. If you're into your military stuff as well, there's more for military, but this is the Manx bit, and there's a letter here. Thank you from Manx Airlines on its last day as it was integrated into British Airways. Well, even if you're not into the ATP, come and see the Manx Aviation Museum. I've just had a quick look. The fine gentleman let me in early before opening time to have a look. Do recommend it. But there you have it. That's what I've come for. The ATP here on the Isle of Man. The last surviving, preserved ATP in the world. And he told me they've got another half an ATP which they're going to use in the museum itself. So even if you're not into your ATP, why not come here? It's free. I've left a donation of £5, but it's free to come here. Well worth a visit. Right, I'm off to see the rest of the Isle of Man, hoping this cloud burns off. Anyway, till later. Ta-da.